Hello friends and fellow Ironlanders. I am going to be continuing Jindel's story. I basically pretty much just ended the other session, but I wanted to keep them in little bite-sized chunks. But I really wanted to keep the forward momentum of what is transpiring right now. Jindel has just been escorted out of the room by Nisus, the very person she has been coming here to find. You know, I should have probably made a roll, in hindsight, but when we were figuring out whether it was Nisus or not, I should have made a roll on the vow and made that there, but this is Nisus. I don't even need to make a progress roll on that. I'm not sure how all that would work out. I mean, for a vow like that, find a person. Like, you're either going to find them or you don't. In this case, like we did, I kind of told it narratively, but maybe I should have put it towards a roll, just to kind of like play with the rules of Ironsworn itself. But since that is a vow, and we completed that vow, I'm going to give us our second point of experience. And I'm going to also remove this vow. We're going to need to start making some more vows, because if that really is the only way of gaining experience points, then we're just going to start making vows all the time. Regardless, back to what is happening in the fiction. Nisus leads Jindel out of the room, and he closes the door behind them to leave Caldus and this leader woman in there to talk and do whatever it is that's getting ready to happen with Caldus. Nisus leads Jindel down the hallway and around a corner. Again, I've kind of expressed that this isn't an overly populated area, so they do have a little bit of privacy. And Nisus just turns and... Jindel, what are you doing here? Why? How did you find me? What are you doing in this place? This is not what is supposed to happen. This is wrong. If I hadn't stopped you in there, she would have destroyed you. She is powerful. She has the power of magic on her side. Just because I want to throw magic in there somewhere, and that kind of crossed my mind. Like, she would have like jumped over the desk to attack this woman, but like some type of like magical shield, or maybe some just type of like trap would have like protected her and maybe hurt Jindel, sort of thing. You have no idea what she is capable of. This is not good, Jindel. Why are you here? I was following you, Nisus. I returned home from the caravan, and I was gonna run to the cabin to say hi, but you were not there, and I followed the leads. I did everything I could to figure out what had happened to you. I had expected you to be gone longer. I thought maybe the caravan life would get you away from Moonwood. That's the name of town. I thought that caravan would just get you away from Moonwood, and you could live a good life, you know. And what? You thought I wasn't gonna come back to see you? That's not it. I wasn't planning on leaving Moonwood either. But the Prime Chosen, they showed up one day at our hunting cabin, and they used my past against me. This is not something I ever told you about, Jindel, but I used to be a thief here on Shroudhorn. I wanted to leave my past behind me. That is why I moved to Moonwood, and then I found you, and things seemed to turn around, and that was my chance to leave that life behind and just you know, enjoy the rest of the life I had. And it went well for a long time. I'm glad you weren't there when they returned. I don't know what they would have done, but they used my past as leverage for me. What do you mean, your past? What did you do? I almost called him Callus. What did you do, Nisus? I would steal things. I was a thief. I was pretty good at it. I was good with an arrow, and those things are valuable in that line of work, of course. And one day, I stole an egg. I was hired by a very wealthy man. He worked for the church, that meant nothing to me at the time, but now I see what the real trouble was. I stole him an egg. He paid greatly for it. Not only in gold, but not long after I returned that egg, not long after I acquired that egg for him, something happened, and he died. And I do not know what happened with that, and I did not care. I saw this as a chance for me to get out of there. I didn't work for anybody other than myself. And that was a big enough score for me. And I cut tail and I ran. But it seems that the man I stole that egg for had large plans. And that woman in there, that room that we just left, that woman was his daughter. And that is the only reason she knew of me. And that egg, you know, that basilisk, that woman, Taylor, who I hear you came here with. That egg was that basilisk. And they've been incubating it and growing it for many years now, until it was able to be a large enough size to do what they needed with it. And what they're gonna do is basically dismantle this whole town, bring them to their knees. They've already begun the work. The people are hungry and they're overworked in town. The church has all the power. What she's planning is dastardly. Well, then why did you come back, Nisus? What possible leverage could they have had on you to bring you back here? Let's figure out what leverage would they have had. We'll just roll in the descriptor table. I might not even come up with anything off of this. Kind of unimportant. But, you know, what's important is what you give importance to. 97 is very. Okay, that's very broad. And 78. Very quaint. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, again, like I said, nothing was probably going to come of that. I just wanted to roll some dice. Very quaint. Either way, they had something against Nisus. What would they have had? If you come back and tame this basilisk, they will not kill you? I don't know. Maybe they knew about Jindal, but they didn't know who she was, or like what she looked like or anything, and they were like, you either come back with us, or we will ruin this life that you have here. That makes sense. Then that's pretty obvious, so we'll go with that. They used you, Jindal, against me. Now, they didn't know what you looked like, so that is the only reason you were in that room and not being held in a cell as leverage even more against me. But now that you are here, I'm going to have to do something I did not want to do. Or something I should have done long ago. Either way, we don't have much time. She thinks that I am going to lead you to the basilisk and force you to tame it. Because it responds better to females. How do you know that? Is that a thing? Yes. Again, part of being a thief, I was also very in tune with nature. And you are as well, just by your birth. What do you mean by my birth, Nisus? You don't know where I came from. Actually, does Nisus know where she came from? Let's ask that. Sorry for my sniffling. Again, I keep sneezing. I keep pausing it every time to sneeze. I'll try to be more conscious about the sniffling, though. Does Caldus know kind of where she came from? Not entirely, but vaguely. I'm gonna say it's likely, just because I have a couple ideas in my head. 49 on a likely is a yes. Well, Jindal, I did find you in the woods. I did not lie about that. And you did not have any family. I didn't lie about that either. But where I found you was what was peculiar. You see, there are... You know that area in the woods? The one I say to stay away from? It's crawling with extra undead. Yes, I do know the area, and I've actually snuck out there a few times when you didn't know. In the broad daylight, of course, when the undead was gone. You shouldn't have done that, but I half expected you to. And you know that large, because in the, sorry to cut away from that, but in when you're setting up your setting truths for the Ironsworn, and you choose like what iron is, basically I chose the one where there's like monolithic towers kind of iron, and no one knows why they're there. It had something to do with the past. That is one of them. And again, on the meta side, this is what I'm thinking, this whole continent itself, and bear with me, it's kind of out there, but I really like it. The whole continent itself, and like the metal pillars and the ancient ones, and something to do with the undead too, is like this was some type of craft, like a large spacecraft that crashed here, like probably like literally millions of years ago in this setting. So over time, you know, the debris and the soil, everything kind of like collected, and it kind of became part of the earth, so it became overgrown. I really want to play into that somehow. And like, so there's gonna be maybe a underground like technological aspect to it, but not in the way of like extreme sci-fi kind of. Hey, regardless, I'm explaining way too much for no reason right now. Anyway, that was one of the spots, and that's where Jindel was found. Kind of, it was peculiar. Nisus continues. You weren't just like crawling around. You were on what I can only explain as like an altar. I would not normally have gone there, but there was a strange sound, like nothing I'd ever heard before. And naturally, I went to investigate, and there was smoke or steam or something rising. And in the center of it all, right at the base of that large metal spike, sat the altar, and upon it, you, Jindel, a small baby. And you were crying. I nearly just ran away, but I couldn't just leave a baby there. What was a baby doing there? I don't know. I grabbed you and I looked you over, and you seemed fine. You had no scratches, no scars, no nothing to indicate anything. So I took you home, and that is the truth, Jindel. That is what I know, and we're going to mark a pip on our learn our origin. 1 pip out of like 50 or more. I don't even know. What is there? 1, 2, 3, 4 per box. So 4 times 40. Okay, it's gonna be a while. Jindel's brain is just overloading right now. Like, why would you throw that at me right now, Nisus? This point is, the way you created such a bond with Katsuro when you met him. Do you remember? It's like, I vaguely remember, yes. You didn't just make a friend, you formed a bond. That is why you were essentially able to talk to Katsuro. You can give him commands. Have you ever seen anybody else do things like that with their animal companions? I mean, yes, some people have birds, some people have dogs or wolves. Even that one man that we met that time had that bear, right? And yeah, they were close, but none of them could do what you can do with Katsuro. And then Nakrid. I didn't get to experience how you grew with Nakrid, because you left shortly after. But even you had to be... Everybody was astonished at how you could communicate to that animal in such a way. It's like, yeah, I mean, I guess so. I'm just good with animals. I don't know, Jindal. You are, but I think perhaps there's something deeper. I don't know. But I do think that it might come in handy right now. Quickly, come with me. And we leave the area, and there's probably is like one guard, and Nisus is kind of like, look, just follow me, stay calm. I have a plan. And Jindal's feeling a little bit comfortable now. She's like seeing the old Nisus, even though he seems stressed as well, but he's kind of giving her a little bit of reassurance. And so she kind of plays along as they get out of the underground area, and they exit out the hatch they came down in. And now that they are kind of like out and about, and they start walking down the road, and he's not having to whisper now, just in case somebody's listening, or in case he was whispering before, in case somebody was listening down underneath. Regardless, so they're kind of like able to talk a little more freely now. So what is this about a resistance? Well, I mean, I came to the island because I heard along my way. I have no idea how I just kind of like really skipped over that to get something started in the beginning. But my journey led me here following you. And so I wanted to meet up with Catania because I knew that she had moved here. Yes, Catania. Did you meet up with her? I did. She's also part of the resistance. Is she doing well? Nisus asks. And she is doing really well. She has a partner named Sabine, I believe was her name. We really glossed over that really quickly, so I'm surprised I remembered that. That is good. I'm glad that she is doing well. They are making their way out to the Basilisk Cave. Okay. I don't really know where to go from here. I'm kind of just making this all up. And actually, I'll tell you what time of day is it? Will we have enough time to make it to the Basilisk Cave tonight? I don't know. 50-50. 07 is a no. A very big no. It's like, well, it is getting late in the evening. Perhaps we should stop in town. Well, there's a place we can stay for free, essentially. Is it at the church? It is not at the church, but it is kind of a hideout for the members of the Prime Chosen. So they go and they make their way into town, and it's I see it as just being one of the buildings, you know, kind of like people rent out apartments, but they never really stay there kind of thing. It's just always on rent, or a hotel room sort of thing. And I'm seeing that. It's just a little small building. It's not super ran down, but it's not super fancy either. It's just very, very plain. It blends in very well. And they go in for the evening. Oh, Katsuro. How'd I forget that? Okay. Rewind a little bit. They get out of the underground area. Sorry, I'm really tripping over my words. So they get out of the underground area, and Jindal, as they're kind of talking, Nisus brings up, where is Katsuro, by the way? And she's like, he's around here somewhere, and she gives a big loud whistle because she's not under watch right now. She's not trying to be too secretive. She knows she's with Nisus kind of thing. And she has to whistle a few times, but then out of the tree line gallops Katsuro. And he's running, and he actually runs up and essentially like tackles Nisus because he knows Nisus. He grew up with Nisus, and he misses Nisus, so he kind of tackles Nisus, and Nisus is giving him loves. And Katsuro, buddy, how are you? Oh, you're such a big boy. I feel like you've grown since the last time I've seen you. She's like, yeah, he's grown rotten. And she kind of rubs his head. And he kind of purrs, and Nisus stands up and brushes off the dirt from being tackled, and then they continue on and all that happened. So they stop for the night in town at their little safe house. And Acrid comes out of the backpack, and They have a nice little evening, kind of reminiscing, and everything kind of feels like old times for once again. And with that, Jindal is going to make a sojourn roll because she really she's hurt. She's had missing life. She's taken a lot of hits to her spirit. So yeah, let's do a quick little sojourn just to see how that goes. So they spend the night in town. Nice. That's going to be a strong hit. We needed that. It was a 6 on the action die versus a 4 and a 3. And it would have been, just for my own knowledge, what would I have rolled with that? Oh, plus heart. Cool. Which, awesome. On a strong hit, you and your allies may each choose 2 from within the categories below. So she can. Wounded, shaken. So we can either take 2 health, no. Take 2 spirit, which I feel like, yeah, that's what we'll do. We don't need to provide aid. So yeah, we're gonna take +2 to our spirit. You know, because she's with Nisus again. That makes a lot of narrative sense. I like it. Cool. So they spend the night reminiscing, and things feel good again. Jindal's able to recover some of her spirit. And we have good momentum going into this as well. So we're still trying to stop the Prime Chosen. I don't feel like we've made progress towards that. Next morning they wake up, Nisus locks the safe house behind him, and they make their way out of the city up towards the cage. I don't know what to call it. There's a word I feel like in my brain. There's just this blank space is what to call this enclosure that the snake has been held up in. I don't know. He's been held captive in. I don't. Regardless, I'm not gonna dwell on a word I can't think of. They make their way up to the basilisk. So what is the plan, Nisus? Like what? I mean, surely you don't actually expect me to try to tame this basilisk for them, do you? Well, Jindal, I do. In a way, I don't expect you to tame the basilisk, to bend to the Prime Chosen's whims, but I do hope you can tame him. Because not only do I know you can, but if he is willing, we are going to use the basilisk against them. Her plan, whatever her name happens to be, we haven't figured it out. I don't even think we're going to. I'm not going to give her the satisfaction of having a name. Her current plan is to get the basilisk. And during her coronation, as you said, she's going to release the basilisk. And as soon as she is crowned, she's going to use him to devour the older leader. And then, essentially, tell the population that if they do not heed to the Prime Chosen's ways and pay tributes to the Church of Faerun, basically extorting everybody and keeping them here, that they will be eaten by the snake as well. This disgusts me, and I've been trying to find a way to work around it. If Taylor was successful, I was going to try to talk her into doing just this, but it seems that it's gonna have to go this way instead. So they talk about that on the way to the basilisk's place. But Nisus, he's kind of he's interested in the resistance as well. So he's kind of asking her about that. He's like, I think if we could get enough people to join that, we could fight the Prime Chosen on 2 different fronts. Us with the basilisk, hopefully, and the resistance can come out of the streets and rise up, and we can rally the other people to join the cause so that this does not happen. So, if need be, we're gonna go and kind of like introduce Nisus to the settlement in the swamp where our HQ currently is. So they make it to the Basilisk's cave, and the Basilisk is in there. He's probably getting pretty hungry because it's been a day or so since they fed him. And Caldus knows that, and he's like, we should feed him. He will be much more susceptible to us, to you, more so, if he has a full belly. So let's do that. Adventure moves. We're going to make a resupply. Yeah, we'll do a resupply. So we are rolling plus wits on a resupply to hunt some game to feed the snake. Ooh, that's going to be a miss. That sucks. Because plus wits is a 2, giving us a 5 on the action die versus a 5 and a 10 on the challenge die. So on a miss, you find nothing helpful. Pay the price. That sucks. Alright, what is pay the price? We're just going to always roll on this table and see what we can get out of it. Just because I want to play Ironsworn the way it should be played. So rolling our black percentile for a 0-5. A person or community you trusted loses faith in you or acts against you. Well, being as all that dialogue I just said about Nisus, I don't want to go back on. It's a person or community you trusted loses faith in you. Do you think it's Catania, or is it the settlement at the bog? To me, it would make the most sense to be the settlement at the bog. But how does that have to do with us missing in the hunt for... Okay, so we run into one of the hunters from the town, and he sees that we are working with Nisus. Now, he's in the Resistance. Maybe he knows... Well, not because we were looking for... That wouldn't make any sense. He assumes that we are... So he kind of sees us, but we don't see him kind of thing. And Nisus is probably wearing the garb of the Prime Chosen, because obviously that's just what he does. And the hunter sees this and he recognizes it. And he makes his way back to the settlement to tell them and tell everybody that... Because he knows we left with Caldus, but Caldus wasn't with us, and they haven't been back for like longer than normal. So that raises a flag, and now Jindel is out here just hunting food and chit-chatting with this guy. So now the settlement is furious. Maybe even the Resistance is mad at us. Or maybe they're going to kick the Resistance out. No, I think maybe the Resistance is starting to make an impression on them there. So that could be good, but right now, basically that settlement, if we were to go back there, we're gonna have to do some talking to them. Regardless, we did not find any food, but we're gonna have to feed them anyway. So I'm gonna knock down a supply. So we feed the beast, the basilisk, and I think we're gonna have to do a forge bond. Is that a roll? When you spend significant time with a person or community, stand together, face hardships, or make sacrifices in their cause, you can attempt to create a bond. I don't know if that would be appropriate. I think it'd be more of a secure advantage. So we'll do that. And it's going to be with heart. It's Jindel's best stat, and it makes narrative sense. She's going to roll with plus heart to kind of see if she is able to communicate and not control the snake, but work with the basilisk. Alright, we got a 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, that's a weak hit. On a weak hit, your advantage is short-lived. Take +1 momentum. Nope, even if we burned momentum, it'd still be a weak hit. Okay, so we do get to take +1 momentum on the weak hit. and she feels like this. So the snake responds. So this is still good. Like, he perks up. He eats his food, and Jindal can kind of get a sense of what he's feeling, and she can really feel like his anger, his discontent for his entire life. If he grew up from an egg and he's been essentially trying to be programmed to be mean, to be bent to the whims of this evil cult, he's gonna have a lot of turmoil inside him. So this is gonna take a while. Jindal can feel that. She's like, and she tells us to Caldus. I always want to call him Caldus because Nisus hasn't been in this whole thing. She tells Nisus, he's frustrated. It's not going to be easy, but I think it will be possible. Just let me work with him. And Nisus is like, that's fine, but we basically just have today. And then it's all going to take place tomorrow. She's like, I'll keep working with him. You have the key to the cage, right? He says, yes. Yes, I do. But you're not thinking of freeing him, are you? Jindal says, that is exactly what we need to do. I don't think he's going to comply being in this cage anymore. He's a big boy. He needs to be free. Nisus fumbles in his pocket, and he takes out the key. He hesitates, and he gives Jindal a look, but he hands her the key. She takes it, and she's kind of like, she's locked in eye contact with the basilisk as she unlocks the gate, slowly opens it, and he's kind of like back in the shadows. The beam of light coming through the top of the cave is just barely illuminating the tip of his nose, and then his eyes light up from the sun, hitting them, and he darts out, quick, right past Jindal, right past Nisus, and he immediately goes into the bog, out of sight. Nisus is like, no, shit, where is he going, quick? Jindal's like, it's okay, Nisus. Yes, he is going. No, I don't have control of him. But this is what we need. This is what he needs. We will wait here. But wait, you said the settlement nearby and the resistance. What if he heads there? Jindal's like, well, you're right. Maybe we should go warn them. Or at least go and keep an eye on things. I doubt telling them there's a giant snake loose would be a good idea. It would just incite fear, which is exactly what the Prime Chosen were wanting to do with this snake. But I felt his intentions. They did not seem malice, though he has been treated so poorly his whole life. So they make their way over to the settlement, and Did the basilisk come straight here? I'm gonna make that. We'll make it a possibility, but I really don't think so. There's gonna be a small chance. Did the basilisk make his way to the settlement? 33. No, he did not. And that is a random event. That's why I like to ask a lot of yes/no questions, because that ups the chance of random events. And we're gonna set up the random event, and then we're gonna stop it. I know I'm really baby stepping in these sessions, but I'm having fun. And the story's writing itself, which is exactly what I wanted to happen. Alright. Random event focus 46 is an NPC positive. Okay, something positive is finally going to happen. The story's going a little bit more in our favor. NPC positive, which means we need to bring up our list and find out which NPC is going to be positive for. Here, before we roll that, we need to update our list a little bit. Big and Rough, Nisus is on here, we got Katsuro and Nakrid, we got Katanya and Sabine. Tell you what, I'm going to put, I know this doesn't, nobody probably really cares, I'm going to put Katsuro and Nakrid on the same line. 2 A's. Yep, Nacrid. And, okay, then we got Caldus, the leader of the... Tell you what, we'll just put the Resistance here as their own entity. I know Caldus is part of them, but they're kind of a standalone character, maybe. Oh, Borewood was the name of the... Okay, I knew it had a name. Sorry. I'm kind of spacing it. I do know we need to add the evil woman, the head of the... Almost right. Head of Prime. Is there anybody else we've met? Taylor, she's on here. Maybe the Basilisk? Yeah, we'll add him. Because right now... Basilisk. Right now he is a character. Okay. And... yeah, we'll just stop it there. So... we'll roll a d4, which for me is a d8, to figure out which section of characters we're rolling from. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be in the first section of 5. So it's going to be Nisus, Castro Nacrid, the Resistance, Catania Sabine, or Caldus. Now this is an NPC positive. Let's roll to find out who is going to be affected by this positive. And that is a 5, which is going to be the Resistance, who I just added. Awesome. Otherwise it would have been Nacrid. Which I'm glad I took that out, because I was like, what would good happen with Nacrid? Regardless, so the Resistance, and it's happening as we are coming to the settlement. That is good, but it's a positive, and we just said that the settlement is probably going to be turning against the Resistance, or at least against us. All right, what's the positive that's happening to the Resistance? We'll roll our numbers, and then we'll compare them to 2 different tables to see if one makes more sense than the other. 59. Leave. Wow. Okay, this might be it. Leave. 48. Intellect. Leave intellect, or lightly interesting. Leave intellect. Tell you what, that one makes a lot of sense. Leave makes a lot of sense. So again, we didn't know that Hunter saw us and assumed that we were working with the bad guys and that Caldus is missing, and that's got to be bad. This Resistance is no good news. So the Hunter made it back before us, and we spent a little extra time, dealing with the snake. So he had time to talk to the leaders of this settlement of Borewood. He's like, look, I saw more hunters in the woods. So they've recruited that woman that was with the Resistance, and that man, Caldus. Oh, because they know Caldus pretty well. Caldus was nowhere to be seen. The last time we knew, she left with him. So she must have done something, that devious woman. And now she is working with the Prime Chosen. The Resistance. I don't know if they're actually the Resistance. What if we let the Prime Chosen in? What if they fooled Caldus, and now they have their anchors on our territory? So essentially, this angry mob is basically formed as we're starting to get to back to the settlement and get to the Resistance. And Catania's out there, and she's speaking with the kind of angry mob as they're approaching the shacks that we were in. What are you talking about? We're not with the Prime Chosen, we're the exact opposite. And they're like, oh yeah, well, we saw that woman that was with Caldus out in the woods, and she was out there hunting our food for whatever reason, and blah 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 blah. They're kind of going off it. And where I'm getting intellect is the villagers essentially of this settlement lack a little bit of intellect, so they're just kind of going out at this really stupidly. Like, get out of our land, get out of our settlement. You are no longer welcome here. If you do not leave, we will force you to leave. So the resistance like, fine, we'll go. We have no reason to fight here. We will go. If that is truly what you wish, and we're just getting back. Catania, what's going on? Jindel, what is happening? They say they saw you, and where is Caldus? Who is this? There's so much going on. I have so many questions. We don't have time to explain. We're being kicked out right now. This is Nisus. Oh, yeah, Catania would have recognized Nisus. She knew him from childhood. Okay, so scratch that. Nisus, what are you doing here? What, Jindel, what is happening? Where is Caldus? It's a long story, Catania, but trust me, Caldus is okay for now, but he was taken by the Prime Chosen, and well, actually, so was I, and I found Nisus. He's here. Hi, Nisus. And Nisus is just like, hello, Catania. I hear you're doing well, but it appears that not so well right now. Yeah, apparently we're being kicked out. Everybody. Caldus will return soon. She's kind of instilling some, like, false hope kind of thing. But for right now, apparently we are being kicked out of here. Once again, we need to find another place to go. And that is where we are going to stop it for today. Again, that was fun, awesome. I progressed a little story. I will put a little bit of thought into what steps to take next. Jindel really needs some supply. She's running low on that. But we topped back up on Spirit a little bit. We got really good momentum right now. A little bit of progress in the story. So yeah, I'm going to stop it there. Thank you guys for listening. If you did, as always, thank you. Have a great day. And I'll catch you next time I'm at the table. Later, y'all.